Suhas Chakma, Director of Rights and Risks Analysis Group, joining us live on this broadcast. A very good morning to you, sir. How do you look at this verdict and what are the possible outcomes?
It's a political trial at the end of the day because the things have overturned in Bangladesh. So you have, Tajul Islam, who was earlier the defense lawyer for the Jamaat-e-Islami, who were prosecuted for the war crimes in 1971. He is now the chief prosecutor of the government of Bangladesh, interim government of Bangladesh. So I think the outcome is very clear. They are going to convict Hasina in absentia. The key issue is whether they will give harshest punishment like death penalty and close the doors for any kind of national reconciliation, healing, etc., or actually push the country towards sort of civil war. Once you have banned the Awami League and award sentences which cannot be reversed, then I think Bangladesh will move towards more conflict between the two ideologies, one of the Jamaat-e-Islami and the other one is of course the Joy Bangla, which is Awami League and which wanted to separate from Pakistan.
Chakma, what do you think are the immediate risks after the verdict if it is against Sheikh Hasina?
But there are no immediate risks in that sense because Sheikh Hasina is in India. I think the risk is basically for the government of Bangladesh, the interim government. And it's very clear that they wanted to convict Hasina prior to the elections, which will be held if they are held in February. So, it's a trial in absentia. Trial in absentia violates basic principles of international human rights law. You cannot hold somebody guilty without giving the opportunity of being heard. And in this particular case, the government of Bangladesh had sent its request to the government of India, and of course the government of Bangladesh was required to go through the entire extradition process. So it's very clear that the government of Bangladesh doesn't want Hasina to be extradited, because if they wanted Hasina to be extradited, they would have filed a case before the courts in India that she should be extradited. Then they are not inclined to do all those things because their aim is not necessarily to find the evidence that former Prime Minister Hasina is guilty, but they are in a hurry to convict her. So that's why, if you look at the trial period and the way the trials are being conducted, just to ensure that you convict her before the elections and they can mobilize the population and get some more votes for the Jamaat-e-Islami.
Also, sir, now the Awami League has clearly stated that they will not accept the verdict if it is against Sheikh Hasina, and the ousted Prime Minister's son has also said that there could be violence as well on ground. So do you think another violent episode unfolding after the verdict?
Not necessarily immediately after the verdict, but as I said, Bangladesh, at the end of the day, if there is no reconciliation process, has to have another civil war, and so violence did not immediately be on the streets in Bangladesh, but it's very clear that Bangladesh is going to face more violence. And if you look at the previous one called by the Awami League on 13th of this month, it was absolutely successful. The life came to a standstill in Dhaka. So if a call made in the Facebook, in social media, is so effective that nobody actually dares to go out of their home in Dhaka, then it basically shows that the Awami League still has strong support base and very strong presence in the country. So I will not rule out the violence immediately, but it will be a process leading up to the elections.
So what are the options before Sheikh Hasina? Because these are some grave allegations that she has outrightly denied. So what options does she have if it is against her, the verdict?
Yeah, I think there are 6 charges against her, and some of the charges primarily cannot be made out. It's like the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, former Prime Minister Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, allowing, I think it's about 6 students to be shot dead. Is that something Prime Minister going to order? Possibly the law enforcement agencies went beyond their brief and shot dead. Is the Prime Minister, responsible, can be held liable for specific orders? So I think a lot of it is not the judgment. I think the government of Bangladesh should make the evidence which they have the public. And I think for Hasina, as far as the options are concerned, because it's not a legal fight, so I don't think you can fight out legally. It's a political fight, and in this political fight, as I have been saying, this is a fight between the Islamists who did not want to separate from Pakistan in 1971. That's the Jamaat Islami. And the Bengali nationalists in East Bengal at that point of time who wanted independent Bangladesh. So there is no legal solution to it. It's a political solution. And that's why I say, this regime, which is in power, shall have to be overthrown at some stage if Hasina and her party, are to come back in Bangladesh. And that's what I am saying, that if they are going to make a comeback in Bangladesh at a certain point of time, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years, we basically have to assume that there will be an overthrow of this government. Then, of course, you will see, repeat of 1971 in a softer scale, because the gross violations which the Pakistanis committed in 71, I don't think we are going to see those scale of violence. But surely, I think it will be settled in the streets of Dhaka, not in the courts in Dhaka.